Welcome once again to Channel 18, and our first guest today is Larry Cole. And Larry's here representing the Energy Commission for the town of Harwich, and he has a plan that he's going to talk about. So Larry, why don't you get going?
Well, the Harwich Utility and Energy Conservation Commission is going to be holding an energy fair here at the community center on Saturday, October 29th from 11:30 to 3:30. There will be a number of solar vendors here and other organizations and private companies talking mostly about solar installations so that people can either heat their homes or heat hot water or generate electricity. There will be set up in the multi-purpose room. People can come and go and talk with them about solar installations, what's involved, how to finance it, what the expenses are, and so on. And then there will be presentations going on in a meeting room across the hall in the Council on Aging area. And the presentations, whether they're by vendors or the Cape Light Compact or by Cape and Island Self-Reliance or by Window Express, which sells energy-saving shades and that sort of thing. Those presentations are supposed to be general information to the public, whereas the vendors can do sales pitches in the exhibit room on the floor. So the emphasis is on solar, but it's also on energy efficiency. And there's also going to be a presentation that's very important for people to know about, which is that our electric utility, the distribution company, Eversource, in response to a request from the Department of Public Utilities in Massachusetts, has proposed a $496 million grid modernization plan. That's not all on the Cape, that's for the whole of their serving territory in Massachusetts. And it behooves us to know what's in that plan and how much of it we're going to be responsible for paying for. And there will be a presentation on that topic. But again, the emphasis is on solar because solar panels have become very inexpensive. There are tax incentives. There are financing arrangements available, and as you look around, you can see more and more solar panels being installed on people's roofs, in fields, like at our landfill, and you read about solar developments all over the country, and it's really taking off. And now is a good time while the tax incentives and what are called the solar renewable energy credits are still available.
Very good. Now, I've heard that there are two ways. You can let them take all the benefits of the credits, the installer, or you can have them. Now, do you have a position on which way that should go?
I think that's related to how it's financed. It used to be that people would lease the facilities from the installer. The installer would own them. But you can also, and that's because it used to be kind of expensive to pay up front. Mm-hmm. But there are loans available to make it easier to purchase. And the purchase price has come down. The installation prices have come down as well as the panel costs as more and more companies gain more experience. So I think my understanding is, from what I'm reading, is that the shift is away from leasing, partly because the other financial options are more attractive in terms of the net benefit to you of paying off in 5 to 7 years. And there were problems if you sold your home with panel installations on the roof and you didn't own them. Transferring that at when there was a lease involved was a problem. I think some of those problems have been resolved to some extent, and you're going to hear at the fair both the leasing options and others. Those will the financial aspects will be talked about.
So that people will know what their responsibilities are when they
Yes,
enter
right.
into this transaction.
Yeah, and there are other things. You know, what's the age of your roof on your building and so on, the vendors will describe what the process is that you go through to get an estimate of what the cost is. They come to your house, look at its orientation with respect to the sun, and make an estimate of how much you can produce, and then whether it makes sense financially to do it or not.
So you need to have a good roof. I mean, I happen to have a good roof, so maybe I should look into it. But is that a prerequisite?
Well, one that's very old and it's not the roofs may not have been structured when they were originally built to hold the solar panels. Mm-hmm. That was an issue that came up in deciding whether to put some panels on this roof because of this building, because when we thought about it, the building was already 10 years old.
Oh, I see.
And it wasn't built like the new high school was, with a reinforced roof to hold those things.
Okay.
So it is a consideration.
So you have to be sure that you have a good roof.
Yes. And if you are thinking about building a new home and you want it to be energy efficient and you want to have solar installations, and think about things like heat pumps, which will also be discussed at the fair, and geothermal. We have a gentleman coming who has solar panels and geothermal in his home. And if you're starting new, then you want to choose the lot carefully. You want to orient the house in the right direction. And then you want to decide which walls to put windows in and how to shape the roof.
Right.
All of those things, that's information that will be available.
Now, is this benefit going to continue, or will it get so, will everybody be getting so much free stuff that
Well,
there just won't be any more to be given?
Well, the state has put a cap on the proportion of the electricity that is delivered by Eversource.
Yes, right.
That has to be renewable. And we reached that cap the first time it was set in several parts of the state a couple of years ago. And so in the last session of the legislature, they raised the cap. Okay. But it is still a relatively small fraction. One of the things that's happening is that because so much power now is being generated by solar, and the people who they either have very low bills or they're selling surplus back into the grid, that the utilities are talking with the state government about the fact that the solar electricity producers are not contributing to the upkeep of the distribution network, and they're talking about some kind of a flat rate minimum charge that you have to pay. That hasn't been worked out yet.
Okay.
But because of your question was, where's the growth leading to? Well, it's getting large enough so some of these other things have to be taken into consideration.
That's okay. Well, I think those takes care of my questions, and
those are all of my answers.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, thanks for having me.
Well, we enjoyed that very much.
Good. Nice to see you again, sir. And we'll see you.
Well, wait a minute. You got your thing.
Oh, yeah.